One
What was
moment,
that, Julia?
Diana. One moment. We just want to make sure we have the stream up and running for the public. Yes. All right, go ahead, Diana.
Okay. Good morning, fellow commissioners and staff. And you have to bear with me. I actually have COVID, so I'm okay to do this meeting, but if I need an interruption, that's why. With that, Mendocino County Planning Commission, August 18th, 2022 meeting comes to order. Agenda item number 1, meeting called to order and roll call. The Mendocino County Planning Commission meeting will be conducted virtually and not available for in-person public participation pursuant to the provisions of the Government Code Section 54953 and the recommendation of the Mendocino County Health Officer. Meetings are live streamed and available for viewing on the Mendocino County YouTube page at www.youtube.com/Mendocino County Video. In order to minimize the risk of exposure during this time of emergency, the public may participate digitally in meetings by sending comments to pbscommissions@mendocinocounty.org or orally via telecomment in lieu of personal attendance. All public comment will be made available to the commissioners, staff, and the general public after processing by staff and can be viewed as attachments to this meeting agenda on the Planning Commission agenda page. To submit comments via telecomment, the Zoom link and associated instructions can be found on the agenda for this meeting. In order to ensure that you are called upon to provide comment, please complete the telecomment form found at www.mendocinocounty.org/government/planning-services/meeting-agendas. Clerk, can we have roll call vote, please?
Yes. Commissioner Wiedemann,
Here.
Commissioner Jones, Commissioner Jones, Commissioner Jones.
I already said yes.
Oh, sorry, we didn't hear it on this end.
Didn't come through.
Chair Purnell is absent by prearrangement. Commissioner Babini,
Here.
Commissioner Pollan.
Here.
Thank you. Agenda item number 2, Planning Commission Administration. Discussion and possible action, including adoption of resolution of the Mendocino County Planning Commission finding that the state or local officials continue to recommend measures to promote social distancing in connection with public meetings. Are there any comments on this item?
No comment.
Okay. Do we have a motion or action?
And pardon me, Chair Wiedemann, I think we just need to make sure that if any of the attendees in the Zoom wish to comment on this item, could you please use the raise hand feature? And we do not see any comments. Thank you.
All right. And do we have determination of legal notice?
Yes, all items on this agenda were properly noticed.
Deputy,
All right. Thank you.
Can we get excuse me, Vice Chair, can we get a motion and a vote on the resolution?
I move that we adopt the resolution.
Is there a second?
A second.
Can we have roll call vote?
Yes. Commissioner Pollan,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Babini, Chair Wiedemann.
Yes.
Motion
right.
passes.
Okay, motion passes. Determination of legal notice.
All items on the agenda were properly noticed.
All right, thank you. Agenda item number 3, director's report. Do we have a director's report this morning?
Thank you, Vice Chair Wiedemann. Julia Krog, Director of Planning and Building. I do not have a director's report as of today. I will have one at our next agenda just to give you some updates on sort of recruitments and where things are at within the department. So thank you. I'm available for any questions.
All right. Agenda item number 4, matters from the public. Members of the public are welcome to address the Planning Commission on items not listed on this agenda, but within the jurisdiction of the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission is prohibited by law from taking action on matters not on the agenda. Individuals wishing to address the Planning Commission under matters of the public may do so via email, telephone, or Zoom. For information on each of these methods, call the Planning and Building Department at 707-234-6650 or visit www.mendocinocounty.org/government-building-services/meetings-agenda. All correspondence will be attached to the item and made available online on the Planning Commission agenda page. If any members of the public log into Zoom meetings wishes to speak under public expression and have not completed the telecomment form, please use the raise hand feature to allow staff to add you to the meeting. Instructions for using the raised hand feature are found on the agenda for this meeting. Do we have any requests for a telecomment under public expression?
We have no request for public comment under.
All right.
expression.
All right, seeing that, we move on to item number 5, consent calendar. And we do not have anything on the consent calendar, correct?
Correct.
Okay, then that moves us into agenda number 6A of our regular calendar, which is case number U 2017-0036. And what I know is that they asked for a continuance, if I have that correct in your latest. And so on August 10th, 2022, the applicant submitted additional information regarding the project. Staff has not had ample time to review the submitted materials in advance of the hearing on August 18th, 2022. Staff's request continuance of the project to date certain of September 1st, 2022. An updated tolling agreement has been prepared and signed. The updated tolling agreement will expire on September 16th, 2022. Recommended action is the continued coastal development use permit U 2017-0036 to September 1st, 2022.
And if I may, Vice Chair Wiedemann, I will note that we do have the representative of the application available on the line if the commission has any questions for them. And then I do want to note that there were 2 public comment letters submitted for today's item, and we do have a member of the public that submitted one of those comment letters here on the line as well. So I do just want to make that note for you.
Right, but my question is, we could hear the person on the line, the public, but since we're continuing it, I think we should I think we should take this case up on September 1st.
Yeah, it's certainly at the chair's discretion there.
Right, and so Commissioner Babini.
I was just wondering, I think that it's fair for folks if they did show up to the meeting, if they do want to be heard, because they may not be able to come to the next meeting. If they want to be heard on this item, that we may be able to give them the opportunity to at least speak on this item, so that they have that opportunity if they can't make the next one.
Right, and I agree with that. And for the public, but do we want to listen to, it's AT&T. Do we want to listen to the representative, or do we want to hear them on the first is mine? So, is there any, so are you in agreement that we'll listen to the public?
Yes.
Okay, so, can we hear the public comment?
Yes, so we're going to go ahead and bring over Anna Marie Weibel, who's on the line today. And if you give me just a moment here, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that way we have the timer available. And okay, so we're going to let Miss Weibel in. All right, please go ahead and state your name when you begin speaking.
Hi, my name is Anne-Marie Weibel. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello? Okay. Good morning. I submitted 2 letters and I could only see 1 document uploaded. And I would like to reserve my comments for September 1st because I went along with the idea based on the memo that this item will be postponed. So I don't want to take up a lot of time. I do send also the information that the public so far has not been able to comment on this project by speaking since it was first introduced on 5/16/2019. And to have only 3 minutes for a project that has been dragging on for more than 3 years is kind of interesting, but that's how you, that's what you allow for the public. So please upload my 4-page letter. You only uploaded 1 document as far as I can tell on my end. And I'm glad that AT&T keeps working on this project because it started out, just being so incomplete and, with no proper biological studies. And there was a lot of opposition at first. There were 49 local residents who signed a petition. And by postponing it from time to time, I mean, people lose sight of the history of this place. So I encourage everybody to look at all the materials from all these meetings that have come beforehand. And I do think at this point, I will just end with my comments. And I'm looking forward to speaking on the 1st. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other members of the public in the attendees area that wish to speak on this item? If so, please use the raise hand feature. And I'm seeing no raised hands in the attendees area.
All right. May I just suggest that maybe for our next board package that we get those 46 letters? And the issue is they've changed the project a little bit. So Julia, can you give the commission information on how we go forward? Because this has been a long process, and I think the speaker brought up some good points.
Sure. So we do have, going back in time, I think before many of you were on the commission, this project did go to hearing in 2019, at which time staff was recommending denial. At that time, it was a monopine. So there were a number of public comments submitted for that hearing. Since that time, AT&T has revised the application to be this faux water tower design that's presented to you in the most recent packet. So we can certainly provide the past public comment in the next agenda packet to the commissioners. I would just want some direction if you would like to see the comment letters from 2019 that pertain to the monopine in addition to the ones that have come in for the faux water tower design, the design in front of you with this current package.
Other commissioners?
I think Cliff has his hand and I have my hand up, so you could.
Okay, I didn't see your hand. Sorry, Cliff.
Oh, I mean, I guess on that question, I would like to see what the public comments were on the original design. I know that it has changed significantly, but there might be some aspects that are still relevant. And my question was, I was curious, I know that the last time we considered this, that some of the resource agencies had some significant concerns. And I'm curious when we and the resource agencies are going to get to see what has been submitted by AT&T to staff. So are those resource agencies going to have a chance to comment before this meeting in 2 weeks from now?
We can provide those materials attached to a memorandum and make that available to the general public. That includes resource agencies as well, and to the Planning Commission.
But will state parks, I guess state parks in particular is the one I was curious about, will they be notified that there has been modification to the project?
If the commission would like, I can directly notify them.
I would like that, please.
Okay.
Commissioner Jones?
Yeah, and I'm just chiming in on this whole issue of total transparency. Maybe the next time it comes back, we could have the full staff report instead of just a resolution also in the packet, just because it's been a while and I don't know if I could still find that old one. At least to have it electronically linked under the agenda, especially for people who don't know how to like scroll down and find old agenda packets and might not know what's relevant. I think it would be helpful for people.
We can certainly do that.
And it is there electronically linked on our webpage.
All right.
I agree it's electronically linked, but it's linked down at an earlier date.
It's linked for the state.
All I have is a resolution, a memo for continuance. Oh, right, the top one. You're right. I'm sorry. My bad.
But we will make sure that you get printed packets again for this upcoming agenda, just in case you don't have your printed copy handy. So, and then we'll make sure that all the public comment letters are part of that, as well as updated materials provided by the applicant. And I'll be sure to notify state parks of the additional information that's been submitted.
Okay. With that, I believe, do we need a motion to continue this item? I believe we do, don't we?
Yes, please.
Yes. May somebody, one of the commissioners, entertain a motion?
Before we entertain a motion, I would like us to set some sort of policy about how many times we just allow projects to be continued over and over. I think the issue is not a big deal when we have something else of significance on the agenda. And so then it makes sense for us all to like drop our busy lives and have a planning commission meeting if there's something else on the agenda. But I get real concerned when we have items that come that there's nothing else on the agenda and it's a continuance and we all have to like drop our busy lives and have a meeting to say that we're not going to meet. So I don't know exactly where to go with this, but these projects that have 4 and 5 continuance to me seem extremely excessive. And I don't know what other commissioners feel, but like maybe 2 continuances they can do. And then after that, like, let's go back to them paying for another hearing notice and actually getting all the ducks in a row for a proper hearing. Because I think what happens when you don't know if everything's ready or not, the tendency is just to continue it to the next meeting and then it's not ready. And then we may not have anything else. And then we're meeting for no reason. You kind of get where I'm going with this. So it's just an idea, throwing it out there for the commissioners to think about.
Matt, our county council has his hands up.
Deputy County Council Matthew Kudrowski, I think that's a fine thing to discuss as a part of a separate agenda item for amendments to the bylaws in terms of how many continuances before it needs to go to a date uncertain. That's probably not agendized for this item. So I would recommend not discussing it or trying to adopt something right now before we hear something on this continuance in particular. And then as part of bringing that back, staff could address the issue of cost and time for both the commissioners and staff and the applicant if there's a cost for renoticing.
So can we put this item in this agenda to be discussed at a future meeting? Is that what you're?
If you would like, we can agendize this for an upcoming meeting to have that discussion, so that way the commission can prepare or establish essentially a policy that would relate to continuances, and staff can have available at that meeting what the associated costs are typically with renoticing.
All right. And I think we don't need a motion for that, do we, Julia?
No, I
We're
will just agendize
requesting it.
that.
Great.
Yeah,
Okay.
but we are still looking for a motion for continuance of today's item.
Can I make one more suggestion before we drop this item? And that is, Julia, would you mind also just providing an estimate of staff time and commissioner time for not just renoticing, but also for having a meeting at which that's the only item that's discussed? Because I think we need kind of both sides of the equation to get a sense. And then also whether or not an applicant can be asked to pay for that second hearing notice or not, if they're asking for the continuance. I think that would also be helpful information for us all to have. And with that, I would be happy to make a motion to continue this to September 1st. My only concern is that it may not be ready by then. And so maybe we should continue it for another 2 weeks after that, since I forget the term it is, but the money thing is still good until the 16th. So maybe we might want to consider continuing it until the 15th instead. Just might be a little safer. Especially
if I may, staff is already looking at the additional materials. I have no concerns about being prepared to move forward at the September 1st agenda.
Okay, and you're certain you'll be able to get a comment from the state parks by then?
I can't say that state parks would comment on additional materials. I can't speak for their time, but I can certainly notify them, almost immediately here and see where it goes on their end.
Cool.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All right. Could we have roll call, please?
Commissioner Badini,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Pollan,
Yes.
Chair Wiedemann.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right. Moving on to agenda item number 6B on our regular calendar. Case number U 2020-0010. Coastal Development Use Permit to demolish, renovate, and/or repair several of the Mendocino High School buildings. So we're opening it up to the public hearing outline. Do we have any people in the public wishing to speak on this?
If I may, Vice Chair Wiedemann, I have a presentation I'd like to go through.
Oh, great.
And then we have the applicant available too, and then perhaps we can go through public comment after the presentation.
Nice.
All right, well, so thank you for introducing the item. As was stated, this is the coastal development use permit to demolish, renovate, and/or repair several of the Mendocino High School buildings. In addition, there's limited additions, including solar arrays, new landscaping, in various areas of the campus. There's the detailed project description included as attachment A to the staff report. The permit also includes the required follow-up permitting for an emergency permit that was granted in 2021, which authorized temporary portable classroom buildings. And there is also an attachment showing the location of those portable classrooms, which is over an existing parking area. The proposed solar arrays are shown in attachment F of the staff report and include both carport mounted and ground mounted arrays. The carport mounted arrays are located over an existing parking area on the campus, which is near the gymnasium and the athletic fields. And the ground mounted arrays are located on the slope west of the same parking area above the athletic field. Mendocino Unified School District adopted a facilities master plan for the high school in November of 2019. This project is consistent with the facilities master plan and involves the renovation of the site and modernization of several of the high school buildings. It also involves limited additions and installation of new landscaping, and involves the reconstruction of non-conforming additions of the high school and the industrial arts building. This also includes portions of the administration and staff lounge areas that were constructed after 1950 and storage areas at the industrial arts constructed after 1970. These wings were never reviewed or approved by the Division of State Architect, which is required today. The project also involves the erection of a 100 square foot addition for the Performing Arts Center lobby, which would accommodate concessions and ticketing operations. And as I stated, the full details of the proposed building modifications are in the project description within attachment A of the staff report. The project site is bounded by Ford Street to the south and Cato Street to the east and southeast and Covelo Street, as well as the Mendocino Alternative School site to the south. The western boundary of the site borders the Mendocino Headland State Park, as does most of the northern boundary, with the exception of residences on northern Ford Street. The mix of educational and institutional and religious, as well as residential land uses surround the project site. As you are likely aware, public schools, such as the subject site, are under the jurisdiction of the Division of State Architect and are not subject to local building permit regulations. I will note that the campus has several buildings. It has 8 different buildings, and you'll see those in figure 1 within the staff report. That's on page 3. And shows the layout of the existing buildings on the property. In regards to zoning and land use consistency, the project site is designated public facilities and is also zoned Mendocino public facilities. Educational facilities are conditionally permitted uses within the public facilities zoning district and land use classification, and the site is already developed with the existing educational facility, and this project seeks to continue that. The project complies with or is legal nonconforming with the various development standards of the Mendocino Public Facilities Zoning District. There is also, I think this is a great part of the project, which is that it's the stated goal within the facilities master plan that the Unified School District desires to be as close to net zero in energy use and consistent with the facilities master plan, as well as policy S-7 of the Mendocino Town Plan. The proposed project includes several sustainability measures, including energy efficiency upgrades, passive lighting, on-site energy generation, and water conservation and stormwater retention. Staff finds that the proposed project is consistent with both the land use classification and zoning district for the property, as well as other provisions of the Mendocino Town Plan. With regards to visual resources, all development within the historic district, this is within historic district zone A, requires the granting of an MHRB permit for any exterior improvements. MHRB did grant a permit for phase 1 of the project, which was exempt from coastal development permit authorization because it included the renovation and repair of the main high school building. Any additional exterior alterations will require that an additional historical review board permit be granted prior to initiating work. Condition 9 is recommended by staff to reflect this requirement, and then staff has also included condition 10, and this would authorize the Director of Planning and Building to approve minor modifications to the exterior appearance or location of structures approved under this use permit, provided they conform with any issued historical review board permit. This has been included because often we find that through the historical review board permitting process, minor changes or tweaks can occur to a design or the layout of a structure. And it's when they're so minor, it's challenging to come back and have the applicant do a modification to the use permit. So these are really meant to be that any minor changes that are consistent with the historical review board permit can be authorized by the director. In regards to hazards, the main potential hazard with this project site is potential fire hazard. It's mapped as a moderate fire hazard area, and we did send a referral to both Mendocino Fire Protection District and CAL FIRE, but no response was received from either of them. It is important to note that any school property is subject to the review and approval by the Division of State Architect, and the qualifications of the personnel that are reviewing fire and life safety aspects of school construction projects are the same as the qualifications required by the Office of the State Fire Marshal. So staff has no concerns regarding the review that would occur for fire protection for this particular site. I will also note that the site is listed on the State Water Resources Control Board GeoTracker database as having a previously leaking underground storage tank. That tank has been cleaned up and the case was closed in 2000. And so it does not impact the project site at this time or the surrounding areas. With regards to natural resources, this project site is developed already with the main high school campus. There are no wetland, streams, aquatic, or riparian habitat known to exist within the project boundaries. The Mendocino Headland State Park, which is adjacent to the project site, is considered an other resource area and is therefore treated as an environmentally sensitive habitat area. However, no proposed improvements will encroach closer to the state park than existing improvements at the project site. As such, there will be no impact on environmentally sensitive habitat areas within the project vicinity. In regards to the archaeological resources, the Northwest Information Center at Sonoma State University did provide comment on the project, noting that there was a previous study that covered the entire project area and no further studies were recommended. The project is subject to the recommendations of the study, which are already known and were proposed by the applicant as part of their categorical exemption report dated January 2021, and staff has included the recommendations of the study as conditions 11, 12, 13, and 14. I do want to note that staff has recommended increasing the buffer area around any discovery to 100 feet rather than the 60 feet that was recommended, and this is to provide consistency with county code standards. The conditions require workers' environmental awareness program, as well as an archaeological and Native American monitoring during initial ground disturbance. And an additional condition also addresses the potential event of an archaeological discovery and proper procedures to be followed. With regards to water and septic, a will serve letter from Mendocino City Community Services District states that the Unified School District has met all of their requirements. Nothing additional is required to ensure consistency with the groundwater related policies for this area of the county. In terms of grading, erosion, and runoff, the applicant has provided that they will be required to obtain from the State Water Resources Control Board they'll need to be reviewed for compliance with the National Pollution Discharge Elimination System General Construction Permit. And the applicant has also noted that Mendocino County Air Quality Management District review and approval will be required. As part of our referral, Mendocino County Air Quality Management District did respond and said that the project would require an asbestos national emissions standards for hazardous air pollutants notification. Condition 4 of the resolution addresses this requirement. In regards to transportation and circulation, the proposed project is not anticipated to change the transportation or circulation patterns within the town of Mendocino. Staff has added a condition because parking of large vehicles overnight in the public streets of the town of Mendocino is prohibited. So condition 15 would require off-street locations for overnight parking of construction equipment and or vehicles. The Mendocino County Department of Transportation has recommended a condition of approval for the project to require that the applicant obtain an encroachment permit for any work within county right-of-way or within county DOT maintained miles. The work possibly requiring the encroachment permit includes the proposed accessible parking off Covelo Street and the crosswalk and stop sign on Caston Street. This condition is condition 16 within your resolution. In terms of public access, the town of Mendocino is coterminous on its southwest and north boundaries with the Mendocino Headland State Park. And this project is not anticipated to affect any public access related to the state park. In terms of the environmental determination, the Mendocino Unified School District prepared a categorical exemption report dated January 2021. That's attachment Q to your staff report. And it determines that the the project is eligible for both a Class 2 and Class 14 categorical exemption. Staff has reviewed the report as well as the information presented within the application materials and has determined that the project is categorically exempt from CEQA under Classes 2 and 4. And there's a detailed analysis within the staff report describing how the exceptions to those exemptions are not applicable to this particular project. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopt the resolution and grant Coastal Development Use Permit U 2020-0010 for the project as proposed by the applicant and based on the facts and findings and subject to the conditions of approval. I am available for any questions, and I do know we have representatives of the application available on the line today as well.
Thank you for the presentation. Are there any questions for staff from the commission? Seeing none, let's move to the applicant presentation.
Okay, we have available on the line Jason Morse, who is the superintendent of Mendocino Unified School District. So Jason, we brought you over into the meeting. Please unmute when you're ready.
Okay. Can you hear me okay? It looks like you
Yes,
can.
we can.
I don't really have anything else to add. I think that, you know, we've already started on the first phase of the project, and things are going really well. We're on target for an on-time completion, and we just couldn't be happier with the way things are going. And we think it's going to really add so much to our community, both aesthetically and as an emergency response shelter, as well as a space for community meetings and expanded community use of the facility. So I don't really have anything much to add unless one of the commissioners has a question for us.
I have a silly question.
Oh, I love silly questions.
Okay, good. I want to know if you're going to keep all those cool historic pictures of past class members, because I'm in one of them, and of course I care about that.
Yeah, that is not a silly question. That is a very important question, because that is one of the most popular questions we have, and we are definitely going to be putting all of those pictures back up on the walls inside the schools for sure.
That's great. Thanks.
Do we have any other questions for the applicant's presentation? And is there any other applicant presenting other than Jason Morse?
We do have representatives from the agents for the project, from the architecture team as well, but I don't believe that they intend to provide comment, but they are available to answer any questions.
All right. Do my fellow commissioners have any questions for the applicant?
No.
Okay. I had one question. In the soccer field area, that used to be the football field area, we were putting a solar array, right? And well, not in the soccer, but on the hill of it. If you look on the plan, there's going to be a long line of an array that's kind of to the, I'm going to call it kind of on the east side of the field, between that and the parking area. And if I'm correct, my question is, from the highly scenic public area, when they're looking back at sunset, are they addressing glare? That's my concern, because it's open there from Heiser Drive. And as you look east, after, when you're watching that sunset, is there going to be a glare? Is that bit being mitigated? That's all I'm suggesting. Anybody can respond to that.
Sure, I'll try to respond, and if Mark or Darcy have other thoughts, they can respond as well. I think if you're standing on the soccer field and on that hill, looking down towards the headlands on Heiser Drive there, It is a hill, first of all, so it is going to be a little raised. And then we do have kind of a bank of trees on the west side of the soccer field that will continue to grow up. But I think that there will be enough coverage there looking through the trees, and if you're looking up. Also, the panels will be angled a little higher to reach higher in the sky, so it won't be as much of a glare. I don't think it's going to be much of a factor. I don't know if anybody else has a comment, but it's a great question. But I think with those trees and the angle, it will be okay.
And we have brought in Mark into the meeting as well.
Yeah, Mark Petrocchi.
Yeah, if you have anything else to add.
Hi, this is Mark Petrocchi from Park Architects. We're the district's architect. Jason did a fine job answering the question. The only thing I would add to that is the profile of these, because they're ground mounted, is very low. I do agree with Jason about probably obscuring from the trees, as well as that there are solar panels, which are black. There tends to be a lot less reflection on those than you might see, let's say, on clear glass on a building. So I do agree that they're very mitigated, both in their location angle and that they're solar panels.
Any other comments from applicant? Seeing none, then I'm going to ask if does the commissioners have any comments for the applicant? Doesn't look so. So we're going to go into the public hearing. I'm going to open the public hearing, and I don't know if there's the public. Julia, do we have anybody?
We didn't have anyone sign up to speak, but I'll just check in the attendees area here. If any member of the public wishes to speak on this item, please use the raise hand feature. And I do not see any hands being raised.
All right. And then with that, staff, do you have any final remarks?
I do not. Thank you.
All right. And the commission, do you have any further questions for staff or applicant? Seeing none, then I'm going to close the public hearing. And now I'm going to bring it back to the commission and invite a motion.
Sure. So I'll make a motion. I did not actually have the resolution or the conditions in my packet, but I did find it online on the link. So I grabbed that. So I had the actual packet, but for some reason that part wasn't in there. But I pulled it up at the beginning of the meeting. So for you 2020-0010, resolution of the Planning Commission, County of Mendocino, State of California, granting a coastal development use permit to demolish, renovate, and or repair several of the Mendocino County high school buildings in the town of Mendocino. I make a motion of approval.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
All right. And could we have a roll call vote?
Commissioner Pollan,
Yes.
Commissioner Babini,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Chair Wiedemann.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Yes. And thank you for all the work. And I look forward to the improvements in our local school. And I want to thank the architect. You've been doing a good job there. With that, motion passes and we move on to agenda item number 7, matters from staff, and there appears none. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And then moving to agenda number 8, matters from commission, we have none listed. Is that correct, or is there something to be added at this point?
There is none listed, but I understood from the discussion previously that staff will be agendizing a discussion on essentially amending the bylaws to add a policy or procedure on continuances. And I'll bring back that information as well that was requested.
Okay, great. And on approval of agenda number 9, approval of minutes for the August 4th, 2020. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
Cheryl, I'll move that we approve the minutes of August 4th, 2022.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Can I get a roll call vote?
Commissioner Pollan,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Babini,
Yes.
Chair Wiedemann.
Yes. And that brings us to agenda item number 10, adjournment, and I'm going to entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll move that we adjourn so that you can get better as soon as possible.
I know, I can't believe it. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right. Can we have a vote?
I think it's just all in
Oh,
favor.
just an all motion. Thank you. All
Aye.
those in favor of adjourning, raise your
Aye.
hand. Aye. All right.
Thank
Motion
you.
passes to adjourn.
All right, feel better.
All right. See you all.